I want to talk here about John Lydon, or a.k.a., of course, Johnny Rotten, of the former Sex Pistol, indeed. Now, he's blamed immigration for what he calls division in the United Kingdom. Let's have a look.
Britain today is so catastrophically disappointing. A lot of this tour that I'm doing will be in seaside towns. And I mean, they really indicate how run down Britain has become. It seems to be full of what they term prospective immigrants, which are really like illegals.
Now, well said there, I think, and of course Johnny Rotten there of the punk era, a product very much of left-wing politics, and even he's coming out and saying, look, Britain's migration problem is hitting what are some of the most deprived communities in the whole country, and actually, you know, dare I say it, but it's only going to get worse under someone like Sir Keir Starmer.
Well, I think, you know, his politics are rotten. It's finally become the appropriate name. You know what? If you ask most people in this country, they do not have a problem with the people of immigrant backgrounds that run their local shop, who are their local GP, who might quite likely to care for them if they end up in a hospital and need nursing. People celebrate that. And I think what he's doing is verging on being racist to try and claim that the culture of these communities has gone.
But Benjamin, they probably don't have problems because the guy running their corner shop didn't arrive on a dinghy from Calais.
And neither would the people
undocumented
who live in many
mobile and passport
men
into the
hanging
English
around
Channel.
on beaches getting up to goodness only knows what. They're not doctors.
But enough about you, Darren. Look, the fact is, you know, our country has been massively enhanced and improved by migration.
No, it hasn't.
And just because there aren't enough grumpy, racist old white people to turn up to a Sex Pistols gig, that might be a problem for Johnny Rotten, but I don't think it's a problem for Britain.
Can I ask, please, how it's been enhanced by migration? One example.
I'm here. That's how it's been enhanced. Look, I do think the United Kingdom has been enhanced by migration, but what I would say is that the numbers more recently have been too high. Benjamin, I don't know how you can sit here and say you think it is sustainable for 750,000 people to arrive here in net migration figures year on year. Migration benefited Britain when it was at lower numbers so that the communities of people that were coming over here could integrate, like my grandparents did, not a city the size of Liverpool moving to the United Kingdom in 1 year.
But hang on, you know, if you were to ask your grandparents, I suspect, as lots of black people of that generation would describe, that they were not welcomed with open arms. They actually faced quite considerable levels of racism.
Which was appalling.
And so I think it is quite selfish for someone who's a product of that route to pull the ladder up for migrants coming to the country now.
We can't talk about past prejudice and then apply it to people coming in. I mean, things have changed. Do you know, the only thing that hasn't changed is Johnny Rotten's politics. He's still punk. He's still going against the grain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Benjamin,
sorry, like that.
Can I just say, you are a massive hypocrite.
Yes.
You're saying immigration is great for the country, for the culture, the diversity, and then the next minute you come on this show and you bang on about how awful these people are on the Palestine marches, you know, calling for Israel to be exterminated and whatever else. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, actually, I can.
So,
because,
no, you can't.
Because I don't accept what I actually, again, I think is basically a racist premise, which is to suggest that these people from who have migrated here from other countries somehow have that exact view. They don't. And actually, most Muslims in this country are not from the Middle East. They're from Bangladesh, they're from India, they're from Pakistan, they're from a different part of the world, and their politics are rooted in a different issue. So I think that's the wrong thing to say.
Yeah, nasty issue.
Well, I don't agree with the people on those marches.
And that you've welcomed to the country. And actually, Cressida, I wanted to ask you in particular, Johnny mentioned John Lydon. I nearly said Johnny Rotten there, but yeah, it's his name. He mentioned actually the fact that he's on tour at the minute and he's going to a lot of these seaside towns. You tour quite a lot through your job.
Well,
have you experienced the fact that people are saying around the country, right, they're just saying, look, it's changed beyond all recognition?
We don't have that much of an intimate relationship with the audiences as a stand-up. I will say that Comedy Unleashed, Andrew Doyle's comedy club, is gaining popularity, which is supposed to be a place where people can have whatever view they want. It's not that it's got one outlook or another. It's just that it's a place that says, look, we're not going to tell you what to say or what to think. And that is, whenever I've done Comedy Unleashed, it's always a full room.
And the Sex Pistols, of course, did a song called Pretty Vacant. Do you reckon that was written about Benjamin
Absolutely
do you think he
not.
had the foresight?
How very Dave.
I'm sorry, but, you know, Johnny Rotten, I don't know, is exact age, but I suspect it's pensioner age now, right? And the fact is that we have a fundamental problem in this country.
Oh, here
that
we are.
have
You found out he's old, so now you want to go for the jugular.
No.
You have a problem.
Hateful.
Hateful, that's what you are.
I'm not hateful, Darren, I'm just a realist,
Prejudice.
right? We have a massive problem in this country.
With old people.
A big chunk, a disproportionately large chunk historically of our population is out of work because they're pensioners. And that, of course, is fine.
He's on tour.
But we have a smaller number of people who go to work. Now, the only way to pay for those pensions, for the healthcare, for the social care, is to have more workers. That's why we need seaside towns to have immigrants, because I tell you what, those economies of those seaside towns would collapse and there'd be no money to go to
Don't
Johnny
talk
Walker
nonsense.
without
about migrants
immigrants.
in work. He's talking about people turning up after coming here from goodness only knows where, after arriving in a dinghy from Calais.
And that is a distraction
they're
because
not in the NHS.
the figures...
And even the Institute for Fiscal Studies, right, who I'm sure that you've referenced once or twice, they said that there is no benefit to the British economy from mass migration. You are
If there was, latest GDP figures show that GDP per capita, per head, which is the true value of how wealthy individuals are, GDP per head contracted by 0.7% last year, despite a city the size of Birmingham coming here over the last 2 years.
And imagine how bad it would be without those immigrants.
It's a myth that migrants grow the economy.
It's not. We need
nonsense.
more migrants in this country because we don't have enough workers. Frankly, I've said it, before on this show, but if we sent the pensioners to Rwanda and kept the refugees, our economy would be better.
Most don't want to integrate. Most don't want to integrate. It's been proven from those GDP figures that they don't contribute to the economy. So the services aren't there, the schools aren't there.
Both Albie and I are the grandkids of immigrants. Mine was Canada, and I think we've done pretty well.
You can't compare today to 40, 50, 60 years ago.
I also don't think you can compare your Canadian
full.
grandparents with those arriving in dinghies right now. I think they're slightly different.
They arrived on a boat.
Anyway, right, how are you then?